The Cats played zero defense in a loss to Ole Miss on the road and made a comeback in the second half, but at that point, it was too big of a deficit. So let's talk about it here on the Big Blue Breakdown. Welcome in, everybody, to the Big Blue Breakdown, episode number 17 here on the podcast. If you guys are listening on podcast, make sure to follow there, leave a comment. And if you guys are listening on YouTube, make sure to also subscribe, leave a comment, and like. I'm more than happy to answer to any of those comments on podcast or on YouTube. In this episode, we're obviously going to be breaking down Kentucky's 14-point loss to the Ole Miss Rebels. Talk about a little bit of something that happened at halftime, possibly with Mark Pope, and some of his comments a couple days after. I think even today had some comments that are pretty uplifting for this team. The biggest 4-game stretch this season starts on Saturday. Can we talk about that and like what this team looks like without Lamont Butler and with Lamont Butler? Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in here. Also, go check us out on social media at BigBlue_Breakdown on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. Again, let's go ahead and talk about Kentucky's loss to Ole Miss, 84-98. The Cats lose. Frankly, it was very much a disappointment to come off that loss, hoping to bounce back, right, in a positive way. I didn't expect us to win this game. I expected to be a lot closer than this game was. I know we lost by 14, but at one point I believe we were down by 27. We were down 54-31 going into halftime, which is just absurd. Almost giving Ole Miss 50 points in the first half. But again, the offense is fine. The offense is not a struggle point. We played one of the best defenses in the country and maybe a top 2 or 3 defense in the SEC and put up 84 points on the road. And you lose. You know, it's crazy. Defensively played very poorly, especially in the first half. I will say the zone pressure / look by Mark Pope in the second half definitely was a lot better, giving 10 points less. I know you still 44 points you give up, but definitely a bigger jump there. We played really good in the second half. We won the second half by 9 points, 53-44. We got to start playing like that in the first half, because in the second half, we tend to play so much better. And if we were to play as we do in the first half, in the second half, in the first half, I think we are a much, much better team. Everything went wrong on the defensive end of the floor. It was simple, like guys just not closing out on guys that are very much capable of shooting the 3-point shot. I believe let's see here, in this game, Ole Miss hit 13 threes. 13 threes. They shot 30. They shot 43%. Hit 3 more threes than the Cats did. But they were getting easy looks. That is just unacceptable. And sometimes it seems to be a lack of effort, which cannot be the case. In the second half, it felt like we definitely bumped up the defensive intensity and pressure, but by then in the second half, it was too late. I believe we cut it to 11 at the closest, and it was all downhill after that. I mean, they had to answer to every run that the Cats had. It's very frustrating to see with the wins that Kentucky has this year over teams like Duke, Gonzaga, teams like that, and we simply struggle on the defensive end of the floor. KenPom, I want to make a point here on KenPom. Kentucky is now second offensive efficiency in KenPom, while defensively, I believe we are in the hundreds. That is terrible. That is poor. That is poor. I don't think it's a lack of coaching or a lack of making a change. Sometimes it's a lack of want, which is very sad. It's very sad to see, and like that's just something that you don't want to have, and that I think that can be fixed. I think with Mark Pope, how much he cares for this program, he knows what it takes to win here. I think something like that can be fixed, but that has been going on for a little bit now in KenPom. Kentucky sits at 24th, second in offensive rating, and 108th in defensive rating. Very poor from the Cats. Very poor. Not a lot of positives to come out of this game, except for how we played in the second half. This team definitely did not quit. They didn't show quit in the second half. They wanted to win this basketball game, but it just seemed that Ole Miss wanted it more, especially in the first half. In the second half, it seemed like we were playing a lot better defense, but they were quite literally hitting everything. They couldn't miss. Like the three ball from the shorter guard definitely was a dagger to Kentucky, kind of like a Visic's three against us in the Arkansas game. But I mean, man, they absolutely killed us from 3-point land. And the offense wasn't even that bad. We hit 10 threes ourselves, you know. Look at the free throw line here. We had one more attempt and one more make than they did. A lot of these points were jump shots. Obviously, the threes, hitting 13 threes is a lot. But we hit 10. We had 30. 30 points from threes. They were able to knock down contested jump shots. When we got that zone look, they would get inside. We would have a guy on them, and just a turnaround fadeaway, just bang every time. We simply cannot turn a team over. That is something that we don't do. I believe they had like 24 assists to 1 turnover. They had 1 turnover the entire basketball game. 1. This team is a very good team. Don't get me wrong. This team is very good on both ends of the floor, which makes them so dangerous. I mean, Chris Beard is very much known for his weird kind of defensive looks, doubles coming out of nowhere, and they have the pieces to do it. But you just simply have to be better on the defensive end of the floor. Let's take a look at some of the individual stats in this one. I want to give a shout out to Amari Williams, triple-double in this one. He had 12 points, 10 assists, and 11 rebounds to take it away. Double digits again, 24 points from him, 6 rebounds overall. I mean, Jackson Robinson played well, 18 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds for him. Kobe Perea played solid with 10 points from him. He had a big 3, kind of the Cats going on a major run. Ansley Almanor, 0 shot attempts, and that is something that cannot happen. You got to get shots up for this guy. You got to give him the ball to have the opportunity to get shots up, because he has been so lethal, especially from the outside in the last couple of matchups. He's been very consistent at knocking the threes down, and he had 0 points in this one. Andrew Carr coming off the bench, he looked a little bit healthier in this one. 10 points from him. You got 5 points from Travis Perry and 5 points from Brandon Garrison. Again, the offense, it seemed like it was fine going. They turned us over a little bit. They added a lot of pressure, but that's what you expect from this elite defense. And we still put up 84 points. The Cats defensively look bad right now. Just bad. Honestly, like, again, shout out to Amari Williams. Triple-double, that's insane. Okay? But you can't have that start in the first half, period. And that's been happening all season. And we've seen in the Tennessee game, when we step up and we play good in the first half, you see what happens. Simply not the case for the Cats in this one. It's the hard truth. This team is gonna struggle moving forward, especially without Lamont Butler. He is a major key piece on this team, and I think we'll make the tournament. Yeah, like, I have a lot of confidence that we'll make the tournament, but I don't know how good of a seed we'll get with how we're playing right now. 8, 9 with how we're playing currently. We're not projected to do that right now, but like, if you were to ask me, like, without Lamont Butler, our ceiling is not very high at all. Well, I want to say our floor is not very high at all, but I think with him, our floor is higher. I just don't. The defensive part is very, very frustrating. It seems like a lack of intensity, a lack of effort. We're willing to switch to a zone. Just crazy what's happening on the defensive end for the Cats with pretty good individual defensive players, key pieces. Now, I know Lamont's been out, but Amari Williams, I believe, OCE, something in the conference that he was. I mean, almost a defensive player of the year. Otega always a solid defensive player. Jackson's a solid defensive player, but guys like Kobe Brea constantly getting blown by. Andrew Carr, he can be exploited. Same thing with Travis Perry. This team needs to step up defensively, and I personally think that we should go zone, like constantly, like, a lot more. And I'm not saying that this team is not, like, they're going to see the matchup and they're going to see what they need to do. And I like the adjustments that the Cats have made, but I also believe that I think the zone has worked a lot more than the man has. To me, I think you should go to that a little bit more. I think statistically, you've been better in that, if I'm not mistaken. Overall stat performance from us, I know we're not healthy, and that has a lot to do with it. I'm being completely honest, but you cannot lose like this, period. You cannot lose like this on the road, and it doesn't get any easier. But I'm here to tell you that the 4-game stretch that we have is probably the easiest in the SEC. And saying that, Kentucky has Tennessee in the next 4 games. But with who we play other than them, it's probably the easiest 4-game stretch that Kentucky will have this season. And Kentucky, I'll tell you right now, has to go 3-1 at the very least for us to make a solid run in the tournament, to get to a solid spot. To me, you cannot get to a 5 seed, because that's when it starts to get very dangerous with 12 seeds. I would like to see us 4 or better, and that really all depends on Lamont Butler. Now, some injury updates from Lamont Butler. He is going to be practicing, but at no contact. A lot of positive things moving forward with him. I'm very much liking that he will definitely be back. I don't know when, but he will definitely be back before any sort of SEC tournament or NCAA tournament. That's what I know right now. Let's talk about actually the little, I want to say incident, but Mark Pope may have broke some furniture in the Ole Miss locker room. In the post-game press conference, a lot of pointing and saying that he had blood on his hands. And apparently there's a call in it was the show with Tom Leach, and they were doing the interview that I think they do this weekly, and they get a call about that thing, like they saw the blood on his hand, and he said, which I like, we're at the University of Kentucky, and we know, like I'm paraphrasing here, by the way, we know the standard, and we're not playing to it right now, and he cares, basically saying that like he got upset, and 1,000%. And then you see when we did in the second half, 10 times better than we were in the first half. We got to start playing like that in the first half. Period. It simply has to happen for the Cats consistently if the Cats are going to do something special. I'm not going to harp on that. I think he just really cares, and he wants to drill it into our guys' heads, like how much this means. Maybe a little wake up call for him. Okay, I'm not going to dive into that much. Wanted to throw that out there. Another quote from him. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. At the end of the season, there will be a Kentucky team that you are proud of, and I very much like that to hear, because like he's saying, like we're gonna have a proud team at the end of this. Like you're gonna be proud of how the Cats have finished the season, and I like that. I like that confidence from him. I feel like we're gonna make the adjustments, but to me, we had to see them, and we had to see them to believe him. I believe that he's gonna do it, but I can't predict that. Just some positive quotes after this one. Okay, we're going to talk about Lamont here and the kind of stage without him and with him, what type of team we are without and with him. And then lastly, we will dive in. We'll kind of dive into the next 4 games and why the Cats have to go 3-1 or better. All right. First of all, Lamont Butler, and Chris Beard said this, he is one of the best point guards in the country. Period. What he can do on the defensive end, he can create more turnovers for us. He can create a lot more ball pressure for the Cats, and just be one of those guys that can really hold the other team's point guard to a not so great game. Okay. He can be, again, Amari Williams has been fantastic at being the initiator on offense, but he can be that. He can be that now. He can knock down an open 3 or 2. Open 3 or 2. He can knock down an open 3. He can get to the lane. He's a good passer. I believe that he is the guy that we need him. We need him to come back, and he changes us a lot for the better. Without him, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because you're just missing such a great defensive piece that can really get your offense going as well. Is there adjustments that can be made to help when he's not there? Yes, and I think we're going to make them. But to me, he raises our floor so much and maybe even raises our ceiling a little bit. Without him, I see us going 9-9 at SEC play. With him, I could see us. I could see us maybe going 10-8, maybe at best 11-7 for the rest of the schedule. We got to get him back. We got to get him back because he is such a major piece of this team. And I think with the progress, he will be back before any tournament of any kind. Again, without him, it's going to be tough to do anything. I think with him, he makes us so much better. Why the Cats have to win the next 3 out of 4 at least. Well, number one, because this is going to be the easiest stretch Kentucky will have this season in SEC play. Period. Bringing up their schedule here. Bringing up their schedule. Just give me 1 second. We got South Carolina Gamecocks next. 0-9 in SEC play. The Gamecocks are the worst offense in SEC play, and we get them at home. Now, they have taken teams to the wire. Excuse me. This team is good. Okay? This team is good. But they're probably the worst team that we're going to face this season. Okay? Simple. It's a must-win game. I'll talk about this tomorrow. It's a must-win game for the Cats that we have to pull out. In the next 4 games, Kentucky has South Carolina at home, Tennessee at home, at Texas, Vandy at home, and then that's the 4-game stretch right there. Okay. To me, you have to at least win all your home games. Okay. I think you can definitely beat Texas at Texas. Look what Arkansas did to them last night. Tennessee's going to be a tough one at home. I like us in that game just because, number one, we've already beat them. We get them at home. I think the energy is going to be there. I could see us definitely showing up for that one. At Texas is going to be tough. And then Vandy. That's going to be the easiest 4-game stretch, and that's a tough 4-game stretch right there for anybody in the country. But that's the easiest 4-game stretch you will see in SEC play. I think you got to win at least 3 of them to keep your head above the water. I think the South Carolina game is a big one because you should win that one. You should. Another one is you should beat Vandy at home. Now, they gave Florida trouble, but you should beat them at home. And then at Texas, it's going to be tough, but I think you're just a better overall team than they are. They've been very, very, very up and down. And then in Tennessee at home, obviously, you've already beat them. You should, and you definitely can win that game. That's going to be, I think, the toughest one to me. If I were to rank these right here, I would go Tennessee at home, at Texas, Vandy, then South Carolina. To me, you have to win the home games. You have to win the home games. 3 out of the next 4 are home games for the Cats. You could be looking at a not so great seed if you split these, right? If you split these, the Cats have to win at least 3 out of the next 4. It's gonna be tough. I think it's possible, yes, because then after you get 3 out of the 4 at home, then you go 2 on the road. On the road, 2 games in a row at Alabama, which that's going to be a very tough one for the Cats to win. And then you go to Oklahoma. So no matter what, these games are going to be tough. But yes, you have to win the next 3 out of 4. Because it's the easiest this SEC schedule is going to get, and you got to take advantage of that to keep your head above water for the SEC play, for NCAA play, maybe to get hot, maybe knock off some teams that you shouldn't. But yeah, defensively, you got to improve, and you have a chance to do that against the worst team in the SEC on the offense side of the ball, and to get the ball rolling in the right direction because we know what we can do. We just got to start doing it, and I think your best chance to get the ball rolling again is against South Carolina. And we'll be talking about that one tomorrow, the preview episode. But that is going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode number 17 here on the podcast. Again, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and then if you're on podcast, make sure to follow there as well. Make sure to go follow me and us, or the podcast, on social media at BigBlue_Breakdown on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. And as always, go Cats.